You doing?
Spending the day at the shooting range is a way of life for many in the Midwest, like Ernie Traw.
There's nothing to it. It's not going to intimidate you.
Ernie is one of a growing number of firearms enthusiasts that say they're frustrated with the White House's desire to ban assault weapons.
What do you think the administration is missing in this discussion?
I think the administration is missing prosecuting people with the 22,000 gun laws that are already on the books. So I love to hear him say, hey, let's prosecute these laws further.
Saturday, he will be one of hundreds of Iowans that plan to rally at Green Square Park in Cedar Rapids for Gun Appreciation Day, a nationwide grassroots effort to show government leaders they believe the Second Amendment extends to all firearms.
There's absolutely guys that can shoot this gun so fast that you and I couldn't keep up with a semi-automatic gun where all we have to do is pull the trigger.
To prove his point, Traw had me try my hand at operating an AR-15 rifle, similar to the weapon used to kill 26 people in Newtown, Connecticut back in December.
You can wiggle and hit it, you just have to have a slow trigger press. Good man.
With just a few minutes instruction, I was hitting a target 100 yards away like a seasoned pro. He then had me try a Remington 870, one of the most popular hunting shotguns in the United States today. The difference between the two is clear. Ironically, the one the Obama administration wants to ban is the less powerful of the two.
Big misunderstanding is when people say, oh, well, which one could do more damage? Well, I don't want anybody to go do damage with them. But if you want to talk actual foot-pounds of energy, which they measure bullets in, this has more foot-pounds of energy.
And that's one argument in a debate occurring all across the country these days. Covering the corridor in Central City, Josh Scheinblum, Fox 28 News.
Josh, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Gun Appreciation Day is taking place tomorrow over in Green Square Park in Cedar Rapids, and local gun activists throughout the entire corridor say the purpose for what they're doing is to reinforce their Second Amendment rights and to also help educate the public about gun safety. Now, this morning we're here with the local gun store owner from Hiawatha to tell us a little bit about gun safety, Ernie Traw. Now, Ernie, I'm holding right now an AR-15 rifle. We're clearly here on a gun range. Why is it important that people actually try and use these firearms when it comes to becoming more familiar with this sort of weaponry?
Well, like any tool, the more consistent you train with it, the better you know how to use it. You're going to use it properly. So in the hands of a good person like you, and you're getting some instruction today, and I saw you smiling, you're doing well, it's a great home defense tool for somebody like me. And like any other tool, I don't care if it's a vehicle or a knife or a hammer, we want to keep it out of the wrong hands. So we're definitely a believer in education on it, learn how to use it properly, learn how to store it properly. And again, in the hands of the right person, you know, I'm a believer that there is such thing as a good gun when it helps good people save their lives. But we're all about education, understanding the actual device and understanding the mentality of the good gun owners. Well,
we've certainly asked some very tough questions here today, and you've been able to answer all of them. So we certainly want to be able to show at least, you know, the tool side of it here this morning.
Sure.
So you can see my finger isn't on the trigger here, and we're gonna see how this is.
Let's get that stance like you had. Let's get our nose over your toes. Remember that smooth trigger press, Josh. Good shot.
I think I hit all three there.
Safety on.
Always remember to put the safety on.
Barrels down range. You did a great job.
Thank you very much for joining us this morning.
It's been my pleasure. Appreciate the opportunity.
You know, clearly there are two sides to this debate here, and while it's certainly a tool that can be fun, one thing you've definitely shown us this morning, you have to be safe.
Absolutely.
No matter which side of the debate you're on. For now, we're covering the corridor in Central City. Josh Scheinblum, Fox 28 News at 7. It's a day that is being run and essentially organized by a network of informal gun activists and gun owners throughout the entire corridor area. They'll be meeting in Green Square Park to support their Second Amendment rights, they say, and that means being able to own firearms like the ones you see here on this table. Now, certainly the one that I think most people's eyes draw to here, the first, is this. This is an AR-15 rifle, one that at least the White House has called an assault rifle. And we're here this morning with Ernie Traw. He is a gun owner and gun store owner here in the corridor. Now, Ernie, this is a weapon that right now is readily available for sale. You can go in and you can purchase something like this. And one of the biggest criticisms from the White House has been, this is a very similar weapon to the one that was used in Sandy Hook, and it's all too easy to take people's lives away. What do you say to people like that?
Well, you know, it's easy to take people's lives away with any firearm or other tool, especially when you're talking about a grown adult versus little kids. That's obviously an unfair situation. Whether it's any more dangerous than any other gun, statistically, it sure isn't. You know, used in the least amount of crimes out of all the styles of what we're looking here. And again, that's if you want to blame the tool instead of the shooter. But you know, people that don't know the difference cosmetically look at it, say, wow, I saw my nephew carry that same gun in Afghanistan, and they don't realize that, you know, there is a different function between this and the ones in Afghanistan. Again,
so if I'm hearing you correctly, what you're telling me is this gun is no more dangerous than, let's say, these two here, what some would call hunting weaponry.
Sure. You know, again, if you wanted to measure the so-called power of the firearm, you know, in the industry they measure that in foot-pounds of energy. And actually this gun, when you pull the trigger, has the least amount of power of any of the three guns laying here. So it just depends on how you want to look at it. When the facts are, each bullet coming out of these guns, these two are far more powerful than that one. It's just a different style of bullet. That gun could shoot farther. You know, this gun closer up would be much more devastating. So it's one of those things. Both of them are commonly used for home defense and law enforcement. It's just obviously, again, the purpose of the gun is to save good people, and in the hands of a good guy, that's all right. But like we try to educate people, is it's okay for you and I to have this when we've legally bought them, but let's keep them locked up, keep them out of the wrong hands. And you know, you as the gun owner, I as a gun owner can have a little bit of direction in that and how we lock it up, whether safes or cables.
Well, Ernie, thank you very much for joining us here this morning. Now, one of the big purposes of having Gun Appreciation Day, a number of the organizers say, is to help educate the public about firearm safety. So coming up in our next half hour, we're going to display some of those firearm safety methods that are currently out there on the market. For now, we're covering the corridor in Central City. Josh Scheinblum, Fox 28 News at 7.